This video is to help all of my students with staccato bowing. Staccato is where we have space between the individual notes, where we stop the bow from moving, and we have that little bit of silence in between each of our notes. And we want to get that going with our right hand to be very automatic, so that when we get this going, then we can think about the fingers. Because we've been trained to have the bow move in the opposite direction immediately as soon as it gets to the end of the bow, or as soon as we stop it. So now we have to train ourselves to stop that bow and make it sound not too gritty. The analogy that I always like to use is like a swing. So we're very familiar with swings. Gravity helps us go back and forth. We can't just stop mid-swing. But our bow is not a swing, so we're going to control it and fight that gravity that would keep us keep moving. The other thing that we have to get comfortable with is that silence. Sometimes silence can speak louder than words. So like you run up to Mom, can I have candy before dinner? And she just goes. She doesn't have to say anything really. So that's something that we really have to embrace. We get nervous when we're playing in front of other people and, oh my gosh, they want to hear me play, so I have to play. But part of that silence will help you to become a better musician and be able to enunciate the emotion you're trying to capture with a piece. So we're going to be doing this just on open strings so that we don't have to worry about those fingers. We just want that bow to get very natural feeling as we do this. On top of just bow taps, that's very helpful. We are going to be working with our metronome. We're going to start it out nice and slow so that we can really get it going and feel how it feels to stop. I'm setting it at 60, and we're going to increase by 10. It's going to be quite a jump for a bit of it, but we're going to do it nice and easy together. We're going to play on open A, and our first bowing, we're going to play a quarter note and then a quarter rest, quarter note, quarter rest. So rest, rest, like that, and we're just going to keep it going. So on open A, we're going to start at that frog. Make sure our hand is nice and loose or it's going to get too gritty. All right, 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Good. Let's bump it up. We're going to go to 70 now. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Now 80. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, 90. We're still doing full bows. There we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Now I want you to be conscious of how much pressure you're using with your bow. So we have to adjust how much pressure we're using versus to compensate for our speed. If we don't have enough pressure on our bow when we're going quickly, then it's going to sound very wispy. And so we want that pressure on it just enough, and I'm pushing down with my first finger here, leaning into it ever so slightly so that they complement each other well. If I put down too much pressure with my first finger, then it's too harsh. So we want to find that fine balance. All right, we're going to bump it up to 100. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Now at this point, we may want to think think about shortening our bows. It'd be really a good idea, because at 110, it starts to get a little bit much to do full bows and have it sound good. So shorten those bows so that we're not working too hard and we can still have a good sound. So ready, go. Let's do one more like that, but we're going to bump up to 120. There we go. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so now we're going to eliminate that rest in between. So I'm going to take us back down to 70 beats per minute. And what is going to be very important is to subdivide. Subdivide is where you are adding in the beats in between, or the upbeats. So when I have at 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, in my head I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's going to help me to make sure that I'm using enough bow that it still sounds like a quarter note instead of an eighth note. If I get them to be too short, then it's going to be tick, tick, tick. And we want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we do that, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That will help us to kind of have that rest in there, but it's not a rest. We just have space between. So at 70, ready, go. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, bump it up to 80. And I encourage you to practice this a few minutes every day so that you can start building the muscle memory to help you out. We're going to start to shorten the bows a little bit here so that it's not too wispy. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Let's go up to 90. Keep that hand nice and relaxed so we're not getting gritty. As we start to go faster, it's going to want to get gritty as we stop that bow. So relax. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, we're going to bump it up to 100. And at this point, we're about only doing a quarter of that middle bow-ish. So we're going to keep it nice and short. 1, 2, ready, and go, and. Good. All right, so now let's flip over. So we did all of our quarter notes. Let's think about those eighth notes now. They're shorter, so we're going to keep it nice and tight in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So nice and relaxed hand. If we start to tense up here, we're going to tense up everywhere. So nice and relaxed. Back down to 70. And always say your notes, that subdivision between before you start playing, so you know how fast you're supposed to go. Don't be afraid to air bow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. On the A string, 1 and 2 and ready and go and. All right, let's try it. 80 now. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. All right, one more. Let's do it at 90. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Awesome. So what we need to keep in mind, bow division and subdivision will help a lot so that we don't feel too taxed of how much bow we're supposed to use. So Work this out before we start doing the fingers with it. Start with just simple scales. Do your D, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you start eliminating those breaks and watch out that hand is not too tense. Keep relaxing, keep relaxing, keep relaxing. Every time you do it, think 50% less. Do less than that, less than that, less than that. And good luck.